Hello, HiveAura Collective. My name is Emily McKenney Cody. I am one of the founding members of the HiveAura Collective, and I also run a couple of my own businesses outside of this. I own Connecting with Cody. I am a spiritual practitioner and healer. I use energy and herbs and divination and card readings to support my clients, as well as angel guide sessions. And I also have a spiritually based candle company called Feather and Dime Candles. So that's just a quick intro, but it is the new moon in Pisces. And I thought, what a better time than the new moon to hop on here and give you some guidance, collective guidance as a whole for the week. And so this new moon is really all about releasing, sitting, getting very quiet and sitting with yourself and deciding and coming up with the next direction that you really want to move in, the things that you're looking for, the things that you're seeking. And it's also an opportunity for you to sit very quietly in prayer, really work on calling in the things that you're asking for. That's the biggest thing that a lot of us forget. We forget that we have all these desires, but we actually have to ask for them in order for them to start to show up regularly in our lives in many different ways. And so getting quiet and asking the universe to provide for you is going to be super, super important. New moons are always about intention setting, being very clear about what you want to see come up for you in your world. So I would encourage you this week to get quiet, to write your intentions down. That's going to be the most important thing that you can do for yourself in this moment and in this energy. And I was actually just looking at the message that one of my spiritual teachers put out, and it resonated with me, so I'm going to share it with you, is that the energy that we're in right now provides us an opportunity to connect with the energy of our former selves from about 12 to 15 years ago. And I actually just had a meeting today with somebody to kind of talk about a collaboration, and this was somebody who I had worked with in the past as a client. And we were both doing very different things in very different places in our lives, and we met today over coffee to kind of talk about a collaboration that we're really excited and working towards from my candle company perspective and her coaching perspective. So it's just funny how those energies really intersect and intertwine, how we worked together in the past, and now here we are doing very different things, and the universe has brought us together again, and now we're working together on a project, which is super exciting. So take a look at the connections that you have in your life, and then see what your former self, if there's any connection to your former self there, or if you are able to look at that part of your life and go back and say, wow, what would I tell my younger self in this moment, based on the energy that you're encountering right now. So that is sort of where we are as a collective, as a whole. So don't be afraid to look behind you a little bit to see where you came from and see what energy you've brought in to at this point. So with that being said, I am going to do a 3-card pull for you, a 3-card reading, essentially as a collective, as a whole. And so what this looks like is based on the energy that we're in right now, this new beginning, intention setting, moving forward and being very intentional in what we want. That's going to be the overall message of the cards. And so it'll be a 3-card spread. The first card will be our current energy right now as a whole, as a collective. The next card, the second card in the spread, is a message from your guides or your teams of light. And then the third card is going to be sort of next directions, what to come. I read oracle cards. I do not read tarot cards. Oracle cards are different, just in case you don't know, from tarot. Usually they are a smaller deck. First and foremost, tarot is always very much the same. It is a 78 card deck. It has major arcana, it has minor arcana, and that's how the deck is made up. The images always look very similar, whereas oracle decks are a little bit more open and free and have different interpretations and different meanings and different images. And so it's really open for the reader to be interpretive about what the card says. So that is just some background on Oracle versus Tarot. Tarot can also be viewed as predictive, not always, but sometimes. And Oracle, from my perspective, is really one of those things where it's not so much about being predictive. What I like to tell everyone when I do a reading for them, and this applies here as well, is that you are always the creator of your own life. You are always in control. You always make the choices. You always decide and have control over your own actions. And so that's how you show up in the world. So if a card comes up that doesn't resonate with you, or you don't resonate with the message, that's completely okay. You are the architect, you are in control, so don't be afraid to make choices that feel right for you. The cards will always tell you what you need to know, not necessarily what we want to hear, but Oracle cards particularly are always centered and grounded in love and light, meaning that the messages never carry any kind of negative connotation or direction. It's always just about providing you with guidance and direction and understanding for the path that you're currently on and the path that you are navigating. And so that is what we're focused on here today. So before we get started, I am going to ask you all to close down your eyes. We're going to center ourselves a little bit. Open palms if you're comfortable. You're going to take a big deep breath in. Hold it at the top and release. I'm going to ask you to do that 2 more times. Big deep breath in and release. 1 more time. Big deep breath in and release. Thank you, angels, guides, spirits, and our teams of light for supporting us today and revealing to us the messages that we need to know that is for the highest good of all involved. So be it, and so it is. Okay, I hope you feel connected. I hope you feel aligned. I feel very in tune and in momentum and aligned with my body at this moment, so that I hope that you are as well. And let's get started. I use Kyle Gray's Angels and Ancestors deck. It is one of my favorites. And we have a jumper, so that will be our first card. When cards jump out, they are usually messages that we need, and we don't put them back in the deck. We continue to use them, and we put them in the spread. So our first card is out. I'm going to create some friction, create some energy here. And I'm going to pull the cards that feel the warmest. All right, we have 1 more card. The collective. What do we need to know? What do we need to hear? This one. Okay. All right, HiveAura, this is your weekly guidance for February 20th, 2023. Our current energy as a collective is Fire Guardian, Ignite Your Passions. This is the card that jumped out, which means that as a collective, and I feel like this is truer than true, because you are all here, you are in this group, you're here to learn, you're here to grow, you're here to develop. And so the Fire Guardian is a representation of going after the things that you desire and the things that you want. Fire is such a powerful element, and we are often so nervous and so scared to play with fire because we're afraid of the outcome. From an elemental perspective, from a spiritual perspective, you are being guided. Our current energy is letting us know that now is the time to take action. Now is the time to start the new thing. Now is the time to start to show up. And it's going to be so important for you moving forward. Your passions matter. Your desires matter. The life you're working for matters. The growth that you want to lean into, it all matters. And so as a collective, we are being guided right now to lean into that. So Fire Guardian, ignite your passions. Don't be afraid. Step into who you are. Step into what you want to become. current energy. Okay, the second card in this 3-card spread is a message from our teams of light, our spirit guides, ancestors, the universe, whatever term you want to sub in there, please feel free to do so. I prefer teams of light because that is what I work with. I work with individual teams of light. But if the universe feels better, or if God feels better, or if spirit feels better, whatever feels better for you, please use that term. So this is the message from our guiding light. Mirror Guardian takes time to reflect. Beautiful, beautiful card. This card lets us know that our teams of light see us, and they want us to know and to understand that the things that we put out into the world, the way that we view the world, the way that we show up in the world, that is what is reflected back to us. And oftentimes the cards go hand in hand very clearly. Fire Guardian is asking you to ignite your passions and show up. The Mirror Guardian is confirming for you that if you needed some validation that your passions matter and you want to show up in the world that way, it will return to you tenfold. That the way you present yourself, the way that you show up, the way that you do the things that you do, the way that you grow, the way that you learn, the way that you try, the way that you work with the work and your desires are going to be reflected back to you, but it only works if that's the mindset that you hold, and that is the vision and the what's the word I'm looking for? The vision and the what is the word I'm looking for? Sometimes I draw a blank. It happens. I think it happens to all of us. The vision and the desire to show up and do the things that you want to do and get it done. You have to show up in the world the way that you want the world to be reflected back to you. So do not be afraid to do that. I hope that you do. Mirror Guardian. One thing that I would like to say about this also is it can be really hard to take that first step, but I think that's where igniting your passions really comes in, and trusting the Fire Guardian is being willing to put yourself out there, because we will only ever get what we put in, right? And so being willing to put yourself out there and be uncomfortable and show up when it matters only benefits you in the long run. And so the Mirror Guardian is offering you a couple of options here. You can show up and be the new you, new year, new you, whatever, where you do the things that bring you joy and you have that joy put back into your life, or you continue to see the world the way that you have always seen it and you don't change anything and you don't show up and you don't do the stuff that makes you feel good and brings you joy, and you continue to live the same life that you have always lived. So that is up to you to decide and to take on moving forward. So Mirror Guardian, take time to reflect. Okay, third and final card for the collective. Next directions, what's to come, things that might be coming up for you. And we have, love this. I think a lot of us need this message. Sky Father, trust in the unknown. Okay, so not everything in our lives, most good things in our lives, we don't know how it's going to work out. Sometimes we show up and we're like, I don't know how I'm going to make this work, but you always do, right? Like you have these crazy dreams or these big ideas or these big goals, or you want to accomplish something, or you want to achieve something, or you want to show up differently for yourself and you want to do things differently, but you cannot visualize and you cannot see the way that it actually works out for you. And that can be really scary. But what this card, what our teams of light, and what like for our next direction, especially with the new moon, what it's guiding us to do and to know and to understand is that you don't have to have every single step figured out in order for things to work out for you, in order for you to start, in order for you to try. Okay, you just have to show up as you are. You have to hold the belief, you have to hold the vibration, you have to give everything you've got, and know that everything is always working out for you, no, regardless of what it looks like at the time. Okay, so like, you know, that lucky girl mantra that's like going around on TikTok, all that. Yes, for sure. There's truth to it. right? Like everything is always working out for me, regardless of what it looks like at the time. Esther Hicks also says this, Abraham Hicks. So what that means is that we can show up and we don't have to have it all figured out, and we are not responsible for the how. You are never responsible for the how. You are only ever responsible for the why. You are only ever responsible for showing up as a version of yourself that you know is going to make you better, right? And so in doing so, you're not always going to know what the end goal looks like. You're not always going to know what the next step is going to be. You're not always going to know who's going to come in and out of your life to support this direction that you're on. But just knowing that you're here for a higher purpose, and you can trust in spirit, you can trust in the universe, you can trust in the unknown, and you can show up authentically as you are, and everything will always work out for you as long as you show up that way, is super important. So I hope, my friends, that this was the guidance that you need. I hope that this carries you into the week feeling good and strong and intentional in your actions and in the things that you want to work on in this phase, in this new moon in Pisces phase. I am Emily McKinney Cody. You can find me on Instagram at Connecting with Cody. That is my Instagram. If you're interested in a reading, please feel free. And if you just want to give me a follow and, get some guidance from time to time, that's also amazing. I'm really proud to be a part of the collective, and I hope that you all get something out of this.